Welcome back to Mini Man Shed. In this episode, what I want to show you is I went to back the Mini out the garage a few days ago, and all of a sudden it's starting to sort of misfire, not run very well at all. That was just kind of strange because it was running okay, apart from sorting the mixture and stuff. I have a bit of an idea that it's an ignition problem, possibly a problem with the ignition coil. Although the ignition coil is reasonably, well, it was new when I bought it, although the car's been off the road for a few years, so I'm going to test the ignition coil just to make sure that it's working properly. I've already stripped, I've stripped all the fuel system, because I thought I might have some junk coming out through from the fuel tank, because the fuel in the tank got quite low because I didn't put very much in it. So I stripped the filter off it, the filter which I had put under the floor just after the fuel tank, between the fuel tank rubber hose and the solid pipe that comes through to the front of the car. I cleaned all that out. There's a wee bit of junk in it, but not very much. I emptied the float bowl and the carburetor. There was a bit of junk in that as well. So, and I tried all that, but it's not. It didn't help it very much. So I'm going to test the ignition coil, see who we get with that, and then we'll move on to the next part of the diagnosis. We'll see how it goes. But what I wanted to show you was, I really should be getting on with my Mini. And I know I always come up with excuses of not getting very far on with it. I've got a box of parts which I haven't even fitted the car yet. But I'm getting pretty sick of this garage. You know, my plans of getting on with extending the garage and stuff. And I've just come to the decision that it has to be done. I just have to get on with it, and I'll show you why in a moment. And I'll take you on a tour of what I've done already. Hopefully we'll go out and we'll get some video footage before it gets too dark. Okay, so I'll see you in a second. So this is what I'm talking about. It's kind of dried up now because the rain's not as hard, but I've got a leak here. I had a leak over in this corner here. I got a leak which was coming down on top of these boxes and stuff. There's always a leak over in this corner here. Just little drips from the ceiling, you know. And it's caused by actually the garage I bought second hand, and the panels. I don't know if you know anything about this metal sheeting, but basically the ex-owner of the garage, whatever, had put, I don't know if you can see a little nail coming through here. He's actually nailed it through the lower part of the metal sheeting, which you shouldn't do. You should nail it, always screw it or nail it through the peaks so that the water's not running down on the low part. So that's what he did. And so when I put the garage back up, there was holes there, and I thought, well, I'm just going to put a bit of silicone around the screws and the nails, and it should be cool. And it kind of was for a while, but it's all starting to leak now. This is maybe the fourth winter or something, and now it's just starting to leak, and it's just pissing me off, you know. So I'll explain what I'm going to do inside the garage first before I take you outside. So what I'm going to do is, if you can see the trusses on this garage, which is the way it was when I bought it, these don't sit on top of the wall, because the top of the wall is up here, if you see my finger. They actually sit on a block which is attached to the frame of the garage, which is not very strong. They're not wide enough to sit up and onto the frame of the garage, if you see what I mean. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to strip the whole roof off, and then there's going to be this wood here is 6 centimeters by 8. Sorry about Americans, but I don't know what that is in inches. So what I'm going to do is these ones here I put in myself just to hold the garage, hold the walls together, you know. But they're not actually, you know, there's no trusses up top holding on the roof. So these are the trusses here. So what I'm going to do is round the whole garage, round this wall here, this wall here, and this wall here. I'm going to put that 6 centimeter, add 6 centimeters to the top of the walls to put a plate. If you, and it's not a plate, you know what I mean, batten or whatever you want to call it, on the top of the wall. And then I'm gonna see, and you can also see that these trusses, they actually bend a little bit in the middle. They're not strong enough. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna double up. I'm gonna double these horizontal parts of the truss up. So instead of being 6, it'll be 12, and make the bottom one longer so that it sits on top of the wall plate. Wall plate, that's the word. Yeah, yeah. And then on top of the truss, I'm also going to double up. This is 6 as well, 6 centimeters here. So I'm going to double up. The top one will be longer as well. So that on the outside of the roof, there'll be an overhang of the metal roof sheet, so that it protects the walls a wee bit better. The drip from the roof and the gutters is further away from the walls. So hopefully you get the moisture away from the walls on the outside. So that's what I'm going to do there. Let me take you outside. I don't know how well this is going to look. It's getting a little bit dark, but we'll see how it goes. Focus. Hello. So I bought myself a cement mixer. So it's not very focused. I don't know what's wrong with this camera. But so you remember how this was all dug out? In fact, we'll go around the other side because it's all covered up because it's raining and we've had some snow. So I've tried to cover it up because whatever moisture lands on the concrete. Let's go in here. Oh, there we go. Whatever moisture lands on the concrete, it flows this way and runs under into the garage, which I hadn't thought about really, but it's got a slight run on it in this direction. So it runs to this corner and then kind of floods through into the garage, which is not ideal. So, as you can see, I've got 3 courses of blocks laid already. This is going to be this one's going to be 6. It's going to be the moment it's hollow, but I'm going to fill the wall with concrete and reinforcing metal because it has to hold the slope back. And it just so happens that 6 courses of blocks plus that 6 centimeter wall plate I've worked out is almost, well, it should be perfect height for, if you can imagine, the diagonal piece which I'm going to add to the truss is going to come off the truss. It's going to come diagonal, the same as these metal beams I've got at the moment to hold the plastic. It's going to come along and it's going to match up and sit on the wall plate on the blocks. You know what I mean? I hope you do. And this wall is going to come out all together. And in between this, the end of this block work, which will be up to here, and at the other side, it's going to come up all the way up to here. There's going to be a beam, a big heavy duty beam, which I've ordered already. Is going to go from here to the other side, so that the end of the trusses. The trusses will sit on this beam that goes all the way across, thus making everything really solid, you know. So I know it's a bit dingy and a bit Heath Robinson at the moment, but I've got it quite clear in my head how this is going to work, hopefully. So the next step is to I'm gonna fill these 3 courses of block work. See down here, see, it's all empty. So these 3 courses of block work, I'm going to fill with really sloppy concrete, pour it all in there,
up to the top of the blocks, flatten it all out, let it all go off, and then I'm going to add with reinforcing bars, which mate up with the bars down bottom, and the bar will go up up to the six courses. I'll just slot the blocks over the top of the bars, and then I'll fill the next 3 courses full of concrete. And then and then at the end of this wall will go up here, and then at the end of the wall, I'll fit in this beam, which is going to go right along, all the way along the top of where this wall is, and these panels will get taken out when we take the roof off and rebuild it. So all that's clear. It's clear in my head. Whether it will work out the way that I want it to, we'll see how it goes. But there you go. So that hopefully should happen in the next week or two. Obviously, I'm going to keep this video and add it to the ones to come. So hopefully you'll see the next bit soon. Okay?
Welcome back. Nice brew. Right, back to mini business. What I'm going to do now is, well, yesterday I had a real long day. I worked from dawn to dusk. Today it's kind of fishy wet, so I just decided that I would have a day in the garage. So basically, I'm going to start the car up, and I'm going to let you hear the kind of problem: misfiring, running badly. And then I'm going to run it up to temperature, and I'm gonna test the coil. To see if there's a problem with it, and I've also picked myself up a compression tester just to check on the health of the engine. I don't think there's any problem with it. We'll see. But I'm going to check compression. A couple of other guys have done it as well. You've probably seen it all, but it's quite, if you're mini guys, so the more compression tests, the more times you see things being done, the better chance of you knowing how to do it properly yourself. Take something from what I do or not. Take things from how other people do them as well. It's how we become good at doing things, yeah, I'm going to do a compression test as well. So I'm just going to turn you around. We'll start the car up, have a look, and do the tests. Right, okay. So let's do this test. It's been a while since I've done anything like this. My younger days, I was a regular roadside repairer, almost every day, in fact. But I had to look up kind of how to do this. I wrote down some values from what I got from the manual. Can we see that? Right. So this is the type of coil I've got. This is the setting on the what's it called? Circuit tester. That'll do. Then in these coils, you've got two coils, two resistances, lower side and the higher side voltage. So primary resistance should be between 3.2 and 3.4 ohms, and then the consummation side, which you should do with the ignition switched on, should be 3.9. Okay, so let's put that to one side. We'll pick up our leads. My gauge for some, my tester for some multimeter, that's the word. One heads up my arse. Right, so the multimeter I've got shows 1 for some reason, but I don't know what. But just to test it, if we put these together, it's on resistance. There we should get close to 0. Close enough for me. So there's 0 resistance between the 2 terminals. Therefore, we have 0 ohms, almost 0 ohms. Right, so let's test. Ignition is off. I'll go over this side. So we'll go on negative terminal and positive terminal. Let's see what we get. Right, so it's down to 3.3, 3.4. So that's within range. Seems okay on that side of the coil. Let's go and switch the ignition on and see what we get on the other coil. Let's see. So again, black on negative, red on ignition lead. What do we get?
Right. That's what I was getting before. So, I have no idea what's going on there. It's meant to be a value of 3.9 ohms, but there it's flashing intermittently and giving me some wild reading. So, if any of you know out there what that is all about, I would be really appreciate it if you could put something in the comments. Let me know. I'm pretty sure my multimeter is working, and that's how you test. So there must be something going on with the coil. So if anybody can let me know, that would be absolutely great. The other thing is, it is a little bit warm. It says to do it from cold, but I was running the engine earlier on. I don't know if that has an impact on the second reading. But the other day there, when I was running the car, I noticed that the coil gets really quite hot, and I'm pretty sure that's not normal. So I'm kind of thinking that I've got a fault with my coil, which is why I'm getting rough running in the engine. Although we'll just go ahead and we'll do a compression test as well, just to see, checking the health of the engine. I wanted to say earlier that this engine has got 70,000 genuine miles on it, and it's been looked after pretty well all its life. The old lady that had it before me, I've got all her receipts from the garage. So it was this oil changed regularly. I've got the receipts for that, and when I got it, I did it really regularly as well. So strictly speaking, there shouldn't be any engine problem. We'll just check on, and also change the head on it. So we'll check all that out, the compression test, and see what happens. So we're back in a minute. Okay, just to demonstrate the problem I'm having, have a listen. I don't know if it picks it up on the camera, but it's just definitely not firing properly. It's spitting a bit of soot out the exhaust. A bit of moisture as well. Condensation's normal, but I don't know. I haven't been doing this for so long. I don't know if that's normal once the car heats up, whether that moisture comes down. But we'll give it a compression test and see what happens. Okay. Right, we'll try that again. So we're just going to go by the manufacturer's instructions, which is to take all 4 spark plugs out, disconnect the ignition system. So taking the positive and negative leads off, plus the ignition, the coil lead. I don't have an electric fuel pump on this car. It's mechanical. I will be sending fuel through, but there's no spark, so it's not going to damage anything. So I'm just going to go with it like that. So let's turn it over. Can you see that? Yep. Let's turn number 1 over and see where we get to. Enough. Right, what kind of reading have we got? 110, 115. Let's write that down. Right. Zero the gauge. Try to get in with the swap cylinders. Silly me. Get this out of here, maybe. There we go. Right. Right. Still see that? Right. Cylinder 2. What we got? 110. Write that down. Right. 0 our gauge. Gauge off. On to 3. One in. There we go. Okay, our gauge back on. You see that? Cool. Number 3. See what we got. Between 115 120. Let's say 115. Write that down. Okay, last one. 0 our gauge. Hose off. On to the next one. Plug her in. Oh, she's not going to sit there this time, is she? Oh yeah, maybe. There we go. Right, see that? Yep. Number 4. There we go. Nice. 115. Check that out. Very happy with that. Yeah, I'll see you in a minute and let's discuss.
So, what have we learned today, children? We've learned that from the compression test, got all my cylinders are 115 psi, apart from one which said 110. It's not. There's no more than 10% discrepancy in that cylinder, so it's nothing. Anything in the 998 A series engine should have 100 psi or more, and no more than 10% discrepancy if there is between different cylinders. So from that test, I know that my engine is in reasonable condition. I don't think that's not the problem. If there was any problems with the valves, it would have shown up in the test as well. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Ignition coil, I'm not sure. So as I said before, if anybody knows anything more about the reading that I was getting off the high side of the coil, excuse me, please let me know. But just from a gut instinct, from having these cars years ago, it just sounds to me like it's not firing properly on all 4 cylinders. There is spark to all four cylinders, but I just think that there's maybe one cylinder is different. Or anyway, so if anybody knows what's going on with the coil, let me know. I'll probably be trying to order some mini parts soon enough. If I need a new coil, I'll get one of those. So yeah. All in all, it's if it is a problem with the coil, it's pretty cheap to fix, you know. So onwards and upwards. I probably won't get that much done with the Mini because I've ordered the new roof for the garage, new roof panels, all the wood for the garage extension, and I just have to get a day or two to get the block work finished, and then I can get my friend round here and get the roof stripped off, which I'll try and video or some of it. We'll see how it goes. So wish me luck. I may not speak to you before Christmas. Thanks very much to everyone. Well, first of all, thanks to Randy, Lone Star Mini, for his Christmas message and offering us a present. That clock would look great in my new extension.
we'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyway, hello to everyone out there. There's too many to mention. But one I will mention is Archfab. I'm really enjoying his style and his content at the moment. It's the kind of thing that, as I said before, I would like to learn when I was a bit younger. Maybe made it part of my career. But anyway, Archfab, really enjoying his stuff right now. If I don't put another video out before Christmas, have a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy Hogmanay. And I'll look forward to any videos between now and Christmas, and hopefully I'll get another video in the new year, hopefully with some more parts in the car, and have fixed out the firing, the running problem with the car. So take it easy, have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, catch you all later. Take it easy.